Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamangam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vidham Scha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gaurva Bhishtam Supurakam Garaganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwaguruncha Divyad Bhagavat Premna Vibija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Mandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Sridharam Manchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurata Vishay Namah. So we're hearing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute, with translation and commentary by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj, based on the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So we're on the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the constitution of the soul. So I'll start with text number 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiya ube sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujasva yoga karma sukoshalam. The wise person abstains from both good and bad actions in this world. Engage thus in yoga, as yoga is the art of all works. So this is what we discussed the last time, read from the Bhagavad Gita, its famous conclusions, yoga karma sukoshalam, that yoga is the art of all works. If all your works, all your actions you can do with the art of, in the art proper way, we can say, then you're performing your actions properly, and yoga means as a service to the Lord. Yoga karma sukoshalam. The wise person abstains from both good and bad actions in this world, engage thus in yoga, as yoga is the art of all works. We're not concerned with what is the standard of good or bad from a relative viewpoint, or even from the standpoint of morality. We're not concerned with the value system of this world, because we even heard at one point where in India, at one point the Gaudiya Math was being criticized that they are promoting slave mentality. Because the idea is what they were, Jivar Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas, where eternally the servants are slaves of Krishna. So, but that is a very relative misinterpretation of what is the actual standards that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was establishing for the benefit of all mankind, and to misstate it. But it just goes to show you that we're not concerned with what is considered good and bad in this world. That's all a relative consideration. And as the Srimad Bhagavatam states, that even what you would take as being axiomatic, as being a truth which is so readily apparent that it doesn't even have to be discussed, it just can be observed. Even those kinds of axioms, if they're not in reference to Krishna, they don't have actually a validity. You can just know that that's the ultimate reference point for that is Maya. For instance, you could say it's an axiomatic truth that the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. Well, perhaps for this world. But is that an axiom for every world and every solar system and every universe and every condition? So you can say, well, we accept it as an axiom because it's the truth for everyone in this world. All right. But that is, we're not, and what is auspicious and what is inauspicious? If somebody tells me that this and this action according to my horoscope is inauspicious, am I to take guidance in that way? If Gurudev will ask me to do something that goes against the dictations of one's horoscope or my horoscope, I'm to say, no, this is not auspicious for me to do. No, of course not. Therefore, Govinda Maharaj said that when he told Guru Maharaj wanted to make him his successor, and Srila Govinda Maharaj said, well, according to calculations, I'll only live a short period of time, etc. And Guru Maharaj said, you throw away your horoscope. I will make your horoscope. In other words, I will change your horoscope. Okay. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam chaktva manishina janma bandha vinir mukta param gachanti anamayam. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam chaktva manishina janma bandha vinir mukta param gachanti anamayam. The wise are enlightened by giving up the fruits of their actions and thus attaining liberation from the bondage of birth. They reach the plane beyond all suffering. The wise are enlightened by giving up the fruits of their actions and thus attaining liberation from the bondage of birth. They reach the plane beyond all suffering. Well, that's what karma means. One is entrapped by the calculation of what will be the fruits from one's endeavors. But that's bondage. That's every action will produce a reaction, and that reaction will produce another reaction. And so it goes on. But the wise are enlightened by giving up the fruits of their actions, giving up that selfish mentality, and thus attaining liberation from the bondage of birth. They reach the plane beyond all suffering. There, actually coming to the plane of spiritual understanding and engaging in the service of Krishna through the service of one's spiritual master. Yadate mohakalilam buddhir vyatita rishyati tada kantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence fully emerges from the dense forest of illusion, you will be indifferent to all that has been heard or is yet to be heard. And when Raghunath Das Goswami came to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, he was put in the service of and under the guidance of Swarup Damodar. Then he asked for Mahaprabhu to give him some directions, some indications. Mahaprabhu told him, everything you need, you'll get from Swarup Damodar. But if you want some instruction from me, he told him, don't eat too nicely, don't dress too nicely, and don't listen to Gramya Katha. Don't listen what ordinary people talk about. What is the subject matter for people in this world. So, when your intelligence fully emerges from the dense forest of illusion, you will be indifferent to all that has been heard or is yet to be heard. Shruti vipratipanate yada stasyati nischala samadha vachala buddhis tada yogam avapshasi. Of course, that also refers to people being so much bound up by the flowery words of the Vedas, which talk about elevation to higher situations, better karma, to higher planets, to enjoyment, to how. But is that really necessary for one to be bound up by those descriptions? And we see an example may be given. One is driving their car. One comes to a place where there's a red light or a stop sign. But there's a police officer there waving everyone through because there's a traffic situation and the policeman is telling persons to continue. And if someone is so much bound up, oh, wait a minute, this light is red, I must stop. But the policeman is giving you instructions to override the consideration of that red light. So is one to be bound up by the words and instructions of the Vedas, or one is really operating on the plane of what will be favorable according to the instructions that one is receiving from the Vaishnavas, what is favorable for serving the Lord? Will that not be of more importance than what are some kind of injunctions given even in the Vedas? So when your intelligence fully emerges from the dense forest of illusion, you will be indifferent to all that has been heard or is yet to be heard. On that plane, we could say the relative plane. Shruti vipratipanate yada stasyati nischala samadha vachalam buddhis tada yogam avapshasi. You shall attain perfect yoga or pure devotion when your intelligence, undisturbed by the apparent contradictions of the Vedas, abides in the Lord. You shall attain perfect yoga or pure devotion when your intelligence, undisturbed by the apparent contradictions of the Vedas, abides in the Lord. So we also understand that there are so many different opinions expressed in the Vedas. And as Srila Govinda Maharaj says, generally rishis are like research scholars. And in order for someone to be a research scholar, they have to present an original thesis. You don't get to be a research scholar by just saying, oh, I agree with this person, he has said that. No, it's supposed to be something original, some original research. So then as many rishis as there are, will that be that many different opinions? Then if we consider it, their opinions may be, many cases, contradictory. Then what will be the final word? Or how will one proceed? If one goes into a pharmacy, there are so many thousands and thousands of bottles of medicine. How will one know what medicine is appropriate for one to take? One has to get the prescription from a qualified physician. And we find a commentary that one will know what is the proper action by being able to consult with the words of the Mahajans, those who are actually the authorities on devotional service, not just any rishi. Every rishi will have some different conclusion. So ultimately, we're getting guidance from the Vaishnavas. So we're not just concerned with what is the statements of the Vedas, but we ultimately want to get something living from Sri Guru. Stita pragyasya kabasha samadhi stasya keshava stitadi kim prabhaseta kim asita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, O Keshava, what are the characteristics of the person of firmly established wisdom who is fully absorbed in consciousness of the Supreme, Samadhi? How does such a man of steady mind speak, be, and act in this world? O Keshava, Arjuna is asking, O Keshava, what are the characteristics of the person of firmly established wisdom who is fully absorbed in consciousness of the Supreme Samadhi? How does such a man of steady mind speak, be, and act in this world? Then, Prajahati yada, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parta manogatan, atmani evatmana tushta, stita pragyas tadochate. The Supreme Lord said, O Partha, one who rejects all desires that enter the mind and remains self-satisfied within is known as a person whose wisdom is firmly established. Supreme Lord said, O Partha, one who rejects all desires that enter the mind and remains self-satisfied within is known as a person whose wisdom is firmly established. So obviously from these words we can recognize that that person who is able to do that is not a common person. That is in itself shows that that person is fixed in consciousness. One who rejects all desires that enter the mind and remains self-satisfied within, not depending on some kind of external consideration of satisfaction or happiness. That person is known as a person whose wisdom is firmly established, won't be carried away by the senses, doesn't depend on that happiness which comes, and isn't disturbed by so many desires entering within his or her mind. Dukesh vanud vignamana sukeshu vigatas priya vitaraga bhayakroda stitadir munir uchate. One who is undisturbed by sorrow, whose hankering for pleasure has gone, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is known as a silent sage of steady mind. One who is undisturbed by sorrow, whose hankering for pleasure has gone, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is known as a silent sage of steady mind. That person is known as a silent sage of steady mind. Now generally we will see that these instructions are mostly, the words are employed or utilized for stating some impersonal conclusion, that everything depends on one's own personal endeavor and doesn't apparently consider some grace coming from above. Rather, that person is so fixed in their consciousness, so self-controlled, so capable. But we also remember when Srila Govinda Maharaj came to Srila Guru Maharaj, one of the first things that Srila Maharaj told him, can you follow what I say and not follow your own mind? So there is a consideration that by the mercy of the Vaishnava, one will be able to not listen to the dictations of one's own mind and become fixed in the words. This is what Gurudev has asked, this is what Gurudev wants, this is what I will do. And what my mind is asking me to do, or how my mind is trying to carry away my intelligence, if it is especially because it is at variance with the words of Gurudev, I will not listen to my mind. So the impersonalists always think of it as kind of scaling a ladder according to their own endeavor, according to their own strength. But we are not seeing it in that way. We're seeing the same stage can be attained, but by both one's own endeavor, but also with the mercy which is coming from above. Therefore, when the first book was published, The Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful, then Srila Sridhar Maharaj asked, this is half the story. Then we want the other half, the Lord's loving search for his lost servant. So one is coming from one's own desire for achieving or coming to the lotus, the shelter of Sri Krishna, of Sri Guru, but the other is also the Lord has some own personal desire to reclaim his lost servant, and the Lord is also working through the medium of the Vaishnavas, through Sri Gurudev, Sri the mercy of the Vaishnavas. That all has a consideration. One who is undisturbed by sorrow, whose hankering for pleasure is gone, and who is freed from attachment, fear, and anger is known as a silent sage of steady mind. And later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will say, Brahma bhuta prashanatmana shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. He says, when you achieve the Brahma bhuta stage, the stage of spiritual, being situated on this spiritual platform, Brahma bhuta prashanatma shochati na kankshati, and you're free of any lamentation, and you're free from any, the pushing of desires, nashochati nakankshati, samasarveshu bhuteshu, and you're able to see all other persons with a level of equanimity. You're not considering who's friend and who's an enemy. Samasarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhaktim labate param. At that point, devotional service actually begins. And from that platform, one can engage in devotional service, not from a material platform. So one who is undisturbed by sorrow, whose hankering for pleasure is gone, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is known as a silent sage of steady mind. Ya sarvat rana vishnehas tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya pragya pratishtita. One who is not attached to anything in this world, who neither enjoys nor resents auspiciousness or inauspiciousness, his wisdom is firmly established. One who is not attached to anything in this world, who neither enjoys nor resents auspiciousness or inauspiciousness, his wisdom is firmly established. Now this may have, what is auspicious, what is inauspicious may have some importance, and especially it may have some importance on a mundane platform. And people will choose what is auspicious, they will avoid what is inauspicious. But like here in this very Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is arguing against fighting because he says it will be inauspicious. It will lead to the wholesale destruction of the society in which they are living. It will lead to the death of so many elders and so many friends and so many relatives. He can give so many reasons why this course of action will be inauspicious. But there is a higher consideration beyond what is auspicious or inauspicious. And that is the actual desire of the Lord. So otherwise, what is auspicious, inauspicious? I may say it's like the distinction between wet and dry stool. We heard a story in that respect, that in India, the cow dung is put in little round circles and attached to walls, attached to trees, and when it's dried, they use it as a source of fuel. They cook with it. So the story is that the person is coming and scraping away those cow patties which are dry and leaving the cow patties which are still wet drying on the wall or the tree. So the wet cow patty that's still being left there is laughing because they're taking the dry ones away to be burned. And he's thinking, oh, you see? But he doesn't know that sooner or later he'll be dry and they'll begin scraping him and taking him to burn in the fire also. So what is auspicious and what is inauspicious is of no more relevance between wet and dry stool. It's stool. Why you're considering that this stage, this is dry stool, that is auspicious. This is wet stool, that's inauspicious. It's of little consequence. What is auspicious for me, they'll tell me that if you do this, it's auspicious. If you don't do that, that's also auspicious. If you do this, that's inauspicious. Why will I gauge my life by these kind of considerations, even if it comes from some highly reputable seer of the future? He can predict the future. Why do I want to listen to that person, even if I engage in something that may not be personally auspicious for me, but it's the desire of Gurudev that I do that? Why will I consider what is auspicious or inauspicious? One who is not attached to anything in this world, who neither enjoys nor resents auspiciousness or inauspiciousness, his wisdom is firmly established. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartante. The embodied being may renounce the sense objects, but the taste for them remains. But that too vanishes for the man of wisdom by his vision of the Supreme. The embodied being may renounce the sense objects, but the taste for them remains. But that too vanishes for the man of wisdom by his vision of the Supreme. So he sees, as the Gita is mentioning, attraction and repulsion for the objects of the senses exist. And in one sense, we can see that they're like two sides of the same coin. We may be attracted by this or repulsed by that. But attraction and repulsion, they're just two opposites, but it's the same consideration. And many times we'll see that one can take up some supposed path of renunciation, but without being actually firmly situated in a consideration that, in other words, Mahaprabhu talks about Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation, external renunciation. But here it's mentioned, the embodied being may renounce the sense objects, but the taste for them remains. But that too vanishes for the man of wisdom by his vision of the Supreme. But even that residual desire to enjoy may still be there. May not be that one is acting upon the demands for sense enjoyment by engaging his senses, but still the desire for that enjoyment may continue to exist in the mind. but then also by the strength of one's conviction, by the mercy coming from the Vaishnavas and from the Lord, Guru Kripa, Vaishnav Kripa, whatever the consideration is, that residual desire can also disappear. Yatato yapi konteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramatini haranti rasavam mana. Yatato yapi konteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramatini haranti prasavam mana. And yet, O son of Kunti, the turbulent senses can forcibly plunder the mind of even the wise person striving for liberation. And yet, O son of Kunti, the turbulent senses can forcibly plunder the mind of even the wise person striving for liberation. So, this is also this may be the situation for someone who's beginning. First of all, that person is learning to walk. They will, in the course of learning to walk, fall down repeatedly. But then they will use the earth to pick themselves back up. And in the future, they will overcome that situation because they were just beginning. But here it's also mentioning, the Lord is mentioning, that turbulent senses can forcibly plunder the mind of even the wise person striving for liberation. So then again, we're saying this shouldn't be a consideration just based on your own internal strength. This should be, it should not, we're not just basing everything on the endeavor and strength of being some renounced yogi. But the Bhakti Yoga has another consideration. We're considering the mercy of the Lord, the mercy of the Vaishnavas, the instruction of one's spiritual master. So based on your own endeavor, this may be the consideration. The turbulent senses can forcibly plunder the mind of even the wise person striving for liberation. But we'll also consider what will be, we could say mercy coming from above, the blessings of the Lord and the devotees, that also will enter into our consideration. So, Tan sarvani samyamya yukta sita matpara vashai yashendriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. Devoted to me, the bhakti yogi brings his senses under proper control, firmly established in the wisdom of one whose senses, firmly established is the wisdom of one whose senses are controlled. Devoted to me, the bhakti yogi brings his senses under proper control. Firmly established is the wisdom of one whose senses are controlled. So here we're understanding this in relationship of a person who is a bhakti yoga practitioner. And then we hear of yukta vairagya, that the proper course of renunciation, which will also lead to self-control, is based on not just renouncing things based on a personal consideration, but renouncing the desire to enjoy the senses by utilizing everything in the service of the Lord. So what does that mean? That means that I may, based on some level of renunciation, I may consider something like money is the root of all evil. And I'll just consider that money is always used to buy enjoyment, and I'm not interested in enjoyment. That's just entangling, so I will renounce all money. But we're not doing that. But what we're considering is that money is Shakti, money is energy. So that money can be utilized in the service of the Lord. That money can be utilized in the service of the Lord. And actually, Shakti, Shakti Man. The energy is meant to be used for the Lord's service. So, that consideration, we're not just saying that everything, I'm renouncing this, and I'm renouncing that, and I'm renouncing this. One's mind may be disturbed. That attraction, especially, what is the ultimate test of Maya? Attraction of a man for a woman, that will be one of the stronger considerations of Maya in this world. But then a person may be seeing that person is not for my own enjoyment, but that person is to be seen as a servitor of the Lord and to be encouraged in that way. So I'm not renouncing just that, we may hear the statement that somebody, when they think about the enjoyment with woman, they spit on the thought. So, okay, that's based on just some personal consideration of personal renunciation. And that may be also false renunciation. But rather we're seeing whether it's wealth, or whether it's women, or whether it's followers, or anything. Mahaprabhu is saying, Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam ba jagadisha kamaye mama janmani shanmanishwari bhavatad bhakti rahaitu kitvai. He says, on a personal level, I'm not looking for wealth, I'm not looking for followers, I'm not looking for a beautiful wife or enjoyment on that level, nor am I looking even for liberation. But mamma janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhakti rahaitu kitvai. The only thing I want in my life is your service, birth after birth. And Rupa Goswami is speaking about yukta vairagya, that everything that normally I might see as an entanglement for myself, I can utilize that if I have the proper consciousness. I'll see that as something that can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Therefore, I don't want any wealth, but wealth may be given to Gurudev for the expansion of the preaching mission. Nadanam, najanam, followers. Maybe Gurudev has so many followers, but those followers are assisting him in the service of his Guru. So, nadanam najanam, nasundarim. And ultimately, everyone is engaged in preaching the Lord's mission, whether it's man or woman. So this was Rupa Goswami's yukta vairagya sa uchate. Real renunciation doesn't mean just to reject things, but to give up the one's desire to enjoy them and to utilize those things in the service of the Lord. So, in any event, I'll stop here, and we're going to be doing, I guess it is, 3 readings of the Bhagavad Gita a week. Yes, I believe so, tomorrow. And then tomorrow we should be able to finish this chapter 2. Okay. Here, you take this. Someone, you're going to play mridanga? Yeah. Someone can play the kartos? He can have his own kartos. Okay. All right? Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Madanam Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhatta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Jasa Raguna H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shabishta Puran H.I. Gosai Charmui Taradan Dasamahar Badarenu Mora Panchagran Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivan Janame Janame More Abdilan H.I. Gosai Chabe Braje Koilaban Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Korea Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamala Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Nitai Gora Haribo, Haribo Haribo, Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo, Haribo Haribo, Haribo Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravachaka Chari Ashta Tara Sada Shishi Mad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shiman Srila Bhakti Rakshak Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sananta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga ki jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Ragana, Shad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda ki jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki jai. Shri Ram Mayapur ki jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Saparshada Shri Maha Prabhu ki jai. Shri Kaladvip ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki jai. Ganga Devi ki jai. Tulasi Madharani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan. Sham Kunda Radhakunda Kalindi Yamunaju ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.